So the question is, Kalyan, like you you're into real estate. When you, or all of you, when you build products, services, or you go for a different project in a different city altogether. Let's say you are building up something in Bangalore, and we were talking about subcultures here. Bombay culture versus the Delhi versus the Bangalore versus Calcutta, different cultures are there. In those places, when you're building a product or a building there or anything, when you hire people there, would you prefer the locals to be in the leading positions, or would you want somebody from your native headquarters to be leading those positions? How would you decide when you hire?
It's a mix, to be honest. I prefer if
give us the denominators. Give us the denominators of what makes your decision as to who should be hired in different subcultures when you are building products.
If you have a talent available which is ripe for movement and to take a bigger responsibility, I would prefer to send somebody from here, so that there is that opportunity which goes to an insider who has invested 5, 7 years, 10 years here, and there is an automatic opportunity which has come up. Like in Bombay, this is an exact live example for us. We are starting off in Bombay this year, and we had a person who was heading business development for us, for the group as a whole. For India, but he's from Bombay, his wife lives there. We offered it to him and he wanted to go back, and so we made him the head for Bombay. It's a different profile, but has been with the company for 5 years. We believe the probability of success is much larger. The ability to interact with the rest of the organization while incubating a new place, the probability of success becomes much larger for an insider who has been around, who knows the people, who knows the culture, who knows what works, who knows what doesn't work, who knows when to pick up the phone and get things done. There is a lot of informality which comes with the culture. A lot of 100% में से 80%, 70% आपको informal काम करना पड़ेगा, which you cannot code, which you cannot put in policies. You will have to get done.
Have you had any challenge where that person who would be or who has taken up a position in the subculture as a leader has had a very difficult time adjusting? So that goes for all. So you fixed up a person in a certain role in a subculture or a different city altogether, but they were not able to adjust in a particular...
So my philosophy in these kind of things is actually very different. For the people at the ground who have to do the real work, who have to do the, and who have to do probably the running around, I will hire people locally, because they will have the understanding of the local flavor, etc. But for the senior level people whose job is to drive the culture of the head office, whose job is to also ensure that the governance standards are the same as we have at the head office, I will send people, I will want to send people from the head office, because unless you have the local flavor, the business will not thrive. But at senior level, you need your own people, so that you have a uniform, consistent culture, and these are your trustworthy guys.
But Vivek, has there been any challenge that they had a very difficult time?
I mean, off and on, yes. Off and on, yes.
It can happen.
So if you talk about the Calcutta market, and I think that somebody was talking about it, Calcutta is not a very comfortable market to work in. I mean, and I hope we don't have Bengalis here anymore. If we have, because
more Bengali than most Bengalis.
because Calcutta doesn't start work by 11:30. So I mean, I have faced that challenge, and we used to have obviously branch network there, and we sent people from here. But so those are some of the things that at times it becomes a challenge. Also, a state like West Bengal or a state like Kerala are very, very unionized, because these have been at least traditionally the leftist kind of states. So you face those challenges, but all those are manageable.
So but then sending a Delhi guy
so I'll give you a live example on this. So in my opinion, depends on how much interaction you have with the local workforce and local resources there. So if it is a totally 100% local resources base,
it's multicultural resources,
so then it is not a problem. So I'll give a very live example, not for India but outside. So Indonesia, I was hiring a leader for Indonesia country. Today also the second time I'm doing it. Last time also did it for Nokia, and I'm doing it now as well. So my last time learnings have come handy now. So last time it is like, okay, there are a lot of Indians who have settled in Indonesia for different jobs. And normally Indonesia culture is considered as very laid back. Okay, so means people will be like slow, they are on their work base and everything, and they have learned very well the Western culture and adopted Chinese also very well. So it's a combination there. And the Bhasa language which is there is a big dumping thing there, because if you don't know that, they will take you for a ride. And there's a lot of, because in devices business earlier, we had a local manufacturing division there. We have the quality checks there. We have the customs there. We have all the things which is there. We hired 2 people from Indians settled there. We hired them and they failed badly. The language, first of all. And the attitude we have. We want to run people, we want to demand things, the kind of stress levels we have, and we want to anger management issues. Other thing is quite on the higher side, which was not successful. Then we thought maybe, is there any European will work? So I tested a European guy, who was an Australian, and was settled in Singapore sometime. We sent him there for a deputation for 6 months. He failed miserably again because he was too lenient. So everything went for a toss. Ultimately, we started that we need to have a local leader, mentored by someone based in Singapore, India, so that on day-to-day basis, this guy can be mentored. So to answer your question, it is very different sometimes. But if you, let's suppose, take an example within India also, you want to put up somebody in Kerala, so which is like totally tight market in terms of language and other things. Chennai, tight market in terms of this thing. Calcutta is again one example that you might not success there because there's a local influence there in a lot of stuff.
So one of the denominator is local influence, how the political
how
situation.
Local influence comes off your resources, your language, your culture influences. A lot of things play a role. Like if let's suppose you are running a knowledge outsourcing center, which doesn't require most of the time the cultural nuances time of thing, and you are just maybe a offshore center of some technology based unit and you're developing something inside the office, it requires, I don't think those challenges will be there.
So I think it's a matter of the nature of the business that you're in, the maturity of your organization. For example, organization like GE would handle it very differently. The kind of talent pool that they have already present in 165 countries. So they would be able to move around things, and this question wouldn't even come there.
Correct.
Right? But say for example something where you have to go and open up a new country. Right, and when you open up, there will obviously be a lot of local interaction that would be there. Now, what do you load on that team there? You would still put a lot of processing and day-to-day work in the core country, say India, and you would tell that team, don't worry about anything else. We will take care of everything. Just make sure you do the core things well. And there, the leader would have to be somebody who understands the organization, who understands the network, the ways of working, sets the right principle and discipline day one. But under that person, there has to be a very strong local person who would then be able to help you connect, etc. So it's that numerator denominator
you
question.
Will be surprised to know.
What do you want to do?
So you'll be surprised to know in the Cosmos cities, the most Cosmos city is Mumbai. You still have on the lunch table, you can find the groups. There's a Marathi speaking group, there is a Hindi speaking group which is belonging to Delhi. And same in Bangalore, you will have Karnataka speaking group, you will have a Hindi speaking group.
I think that goes everywhere. I mean,
exactly.
Academic
so I'm saying in Delhi also, then you will have Hindi speaking group and you have maybe any language which is Punjabi speaking group or something. So how much is that group bigger? You decide on that. Which lunch table you have the bigger people, you decide on that basis. Because that will define the culture nuances, acceptability and everything.
Yeah, because you need both.
It's a good surrogate what you suggested,
You need both. You need the local expertise and you need the global. So you need to find out who is the best combination who can deal with both. Whether the local person will be able to handle the HQ stuff or the HQ person can handle the local stuff.
Like in Vivek's example, what he just suggested, having a local person can sometimes make a better difference vis-a-vis sending somebody from Delhi to manage that team.
And also the location makes a difference.
Whether it is local or somebody going from HO, the core responsibility lies with the CEO to make sure that the transition is successful. The first 6 months, 9 months, it has to be a hard touch, regular interactions, constant calibration, and I visit. I make sure that I am there very, very regularly. Because the guy needs help, he may not be even realizing where there is a problem in the initial parts, and in many cases we give these roles to people who have never done that role, right? Because it's a growth for many of them, promotion for many of them.
And you need to know what are the pitfalls that person is going to fall in so that you help him on time-to-time basis.
Correct.
Exactly.
Because if you anticipate, and if you leave him alone, then you're going to fail for sure.
Yeah, and we also make others go. For example, our CHRO goes to locations.
So our leaders have to be very empathetic towards the culture now. So that's the common denominator. We figured it out that way. Yeah, sir.
Yeah, so maybe with one point we'll close this. See, what happened earlier, I used to work for another educational institute, and which is a government institute. And whenever there is a change in leadership, the whole place will get completely changed, right? And we never saw any consistency, right? Because it depends on what is the orientation of the leader. So when I joined Excel, I saw a very different culture, and which made me to stay in the institute for quite long, and many of them do stay long because of the culture. So the first culture what we see in Excel is highly participative. No decision is made from the top. It is always discussed, even if it takes several days, several months. It is always a participative decision.
Democratic.
Number two, there is something called as minimalistic, right? We try to do everything as much as possible with the minimum resources, because the institute has been a private institute for quite some time. They were constrained of resources. Therefore, that culture came into the system where we always take a minimalistic approach in terms of implementing anything. Number three is we are always very sensitive to stakeholders, and whenever we take a decision, we try to put those decisions from a perspective of a stakeholder and see whether it is in the interest of stakeholders or not, and then we take a decision. So I used to think why this institute has a very different culture compared to what I have seen before. Then I understood like what happens, most of the time our directors come from a Jesuit community. Now, even though we keep on seeing a different director at every point of time, but the orientation is very similar, because they have been trained in the same way, and therefore what happened, they carried that consistency, and this strong culture stayed within the organization. So when you spoke about the leadership influence on culture, it came to my mind that this could be the reason why that place has a very strong culture. And out of all educational institute, premium educational institute in the country, this is one institute which has the lowest attrition, right?
I agree.
Right, and everyone who joins Excel, most of them go up to retirement. And I could see every year 3-4 professors retiring, and which means that who joins, they never leave. They like the place.
Maybe,
and like
maybe the
culture.
accessibility, you have to travel first by road and by take a flight for another.
No. That's no more. So you mean once they come, they get stuck in the place, right?
We have a newer one here now. We have a newer one here which gives us immense accessibility, freedom. However, the culture part I echo with sir.
I thought I'll share this.
I think very right.
Correct, yeah.
Right.